Welcome to the third floor library auditorium building of Politeknik Negeri Jakarta. As our pursuit in prioritizing occupational health, safety, and environmental aspects, here's the safety induction that applies in auditorium building Jakarta. Politeknik Negeri Jakarta. As our pursuit in prioritizing occupational health, safety, and environmental aspects, here's the safety induction that
Following the occupational health, safety, and environment aspect requirements and procedures that apply in Politeknik Negeri Jakarta, you are required to pay attention and comply with the occupational health, safety, and environmental regulation that apply in Politeknik Negeri Jakarta through the following safety induction. Politeknik Negeri Jakarta has provided standard safety equipment in every building to support occupational health and safety applications, such as fire faucets, fire sirens, fire extinguishers, evacuation routes, assembly points, and safety signs.
We would like to inform you that you are in the third floor library auditorium building of Politeknik Negeri Jakarta.
There are toilets in this building. The toilets are behind the right and left of the building.
You need to know that two potential emergency disasters such as earthquakes and fires may occur. If there is an emergency fire and the fire siren is wailing, please stay calm and don't panic. Use a light fire extinguisher to extinguish the fire immediately. Evacuate immediately by leaving the room using an open or emergency door as an evacuation route. Immediately evacuate according to the direction. Our officers will direct you to the assembly point. In the event of an earthquake, please remain calm and evacuate immediately using the drop, cover, and hold on method. Take cover under the table, cover your head with your arms, and hold the table's arms firmly. Do not immediately run outside until the shaking stops, and avoid hanging objects and glass windows.
If the emergency hazard siren sounds, please remain calm. Leave the room immediately and stop the activity. Please follow the evacuation route directed by the officer to the assembly point. Be careful when going downstairs and always use the handrail firmly, and always follow the instruction of the evacuation team. The assembly point is on the basketball court next to the Politeknik Negeri Jakarta Library. Last but not least, please obey the signs that are installed and are directed by the security officers of the Politeknik Negeri Jakarta. Keep the surrounding environment clean and please do not litter.
Thank you for your attention and for prioritizing occupational health and safety whenever and wherever you are.
To emphasize the safety induction that has been presented earlier, in case of emergency, do not use the elevator and aim for emergency exits, along with bringing emergency tools.
When an emergency occurs, walk, don't run, and follow the event staff to the assembly point. Leave your belongings behind to ensure your safety.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome
to
the International Conference on Linguistics and Translation.
I am Alif Rajendra and my co-host
Malika Inaya.
will grasp the honor to be your host in this beautiful morning here at the ISoBispro 2024. Thank you. We're so thrilled to see everybody bright and ready for today's exciting event. Before we begin, please ensure that you sit comfortably because we are about to start our opening ceremony.
To start, let's take a moment to acknowledge the significance of this conference in promoting collaboration among academics and practitioners in the fields of linguistics and translation studies. Therefore, we honorably invite everyone to rise for the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya. All rise. Thank you. You may be seated. Now, we will take a moment for prayer. We invite Mr. Taufik Nur Hidayat M. Hum to guide us.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before we start this event, let's pray together. And for the Muslim, I'm going to lead for praying. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Allah, the owner of all knowledge and wisdom, we gather here with high hopes and aspirations. We ask you for this event of the international seminar run well. Pour out your mercy and blessing upon participants, speakers, committee members involved. May each session be filled with enthusiasm, mutual respect, and support for one another. Ya Allah, the ever-providing and victory giver, guide us to convey constructive ideas and open the dialogue which are beneficial for us. May the discussion in this seminar lead to relevant and innovative solutions for the challenges faced by our society. Keep us away from unnecessary conflicts and debates, and grant us the wisdom in our interactions. We also pray that the outcomes of this seminar can give wide positive impacts. May every piece of knowledge and experiences can share real action for the common good, make this seminar a means to strengthen cooperation among the institutions and the nations in creating a better world. Ya Allah, the most merciful, we entrust all of this process into your hands. May all our efforts and good intention be accepted and blessed by you. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad nabil ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wasallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Taufik Nur Hidayat, for guiding our prayer session.
Next, we are excited to present a traditional dance from Pancreas, goes by the name Kinang Kilaras, a traditional Betawi dance that showcases the beauty and joy of Betawi women.
With graceful movements and melodious music, it's a captivating performance. The dance combines elements of topeng and cokek.
Please welcome Pancreas.
What an amazing performance. Thank you so much, Pancreas.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to invite Dr. Andes Nur Hashim, MSEM Home, the Chief Organizing Committee of ISoBispro 2024, to deliver his opening remarks. Please welcome Dr. Hashim to the stage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Honorable Director of Politeknik Negeri Jakarta, Dr. Samsurizal SAMM, respected Head of the Business Administration Department, Dr. Anda Iis Mariam MSI, esteemed guests, honor speakers, and all participants. Welcome to the 4th ISoBispro Conference on Linguistic and Translation Studies. This year's theme, Artificial Intelligence in Applied Linguistics, Challenges, Innovation, and Future Direction, is timely and important. Artificial intelligence is changing how we approach language, translation, and communication, offering exciting possibilities as ethical question. It is essential that we balance innovation with preserving the true essence of language and culture. We are privileged to have experts with us today, including Professor Dr. Anagat, Dr. Safrina Norman, Dr. Jane Alemano, Inanti Diran Master of Education, and Dr. Ina Sukaise. Their insight will help us explore these new paths. To all our guests, scholars, and students, thanks for joining us. May this conference inspire new ideas and connection for the future of our fields. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Next, we will hear from Dr. Ina Sukaisi, the head of the English for Business and Professional Communication Study Program, who will officially open the conference. Please welcome her to the stage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. So I hope that you all well. Okay, you may know that I'm Ina Sukaisi. So I'm head of study program of English for Business and Professional Communication. So I'm here representing our head of department, Ibu Iis Mariam, and then also my beloved director of PNJ, who are still outside of the campus because of some other activities which are also important. So on behalf of our organizing committee, so it is an honor for us to welcome you all to our ISoBispro Conference 2024. Okay. We are thrilled to have such a distinguished group of professionals and also scholars joining us here today. So first, let me extend a warm welcome to the representative of our directors, which is, it's me, myself, at this time, sorry, okay. Then we would like also to welcome the head of BRIN, which is maybe still on the way, right? So it's Miss Yanuar Farida Wismayanti, PhD, along with Mr. Marudur, a senior scientist at BRIN. So BRIN is National Research and Innovation Agency in our country. Okay, next, it is our great pleasure also to introduce our esteemed keynote speakers. So first, Dr. Anna Gad from University of Western Australia. Thank you. And then Dr. Jane Alemano from University College London. Maybe she is online. And Dr. Safrina Nurman from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, who's to be my classmate when we were in college. And Miss Inanti Diran from AICI as Associations of Interpreters, who is going to come, right? And thank you for joining us and sharing your expertise with us today. So I'd like to acknowledge the presence of all of the audience here who are my beloved students, right? And also our teachers, colleagues. We look forward to an inspiring and productive conference where ideas and innovations can be shared, discussed, and advanced. So let's make the most of this opportunity to connect, collaborate, and create lasting impacts in our respective fields. So not to forget, I also would like to welcome participants which are in Zoom. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. And once again, welcome to the ISoBispro International Conference. God bless us. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Ma'am Ina Sukaisi. Please remain here on the stage. We also invite Dr. Nur Hashim, the Chief Organizing of ISoBispro 2024, to join us once again and to the stage and officially open this conference. Please, once again, give applause at the opening ceremony of ISoBispro 2024. Thank you to Ma'am Ina Sukaisi and Dr. Nur Hashim opening the ceremony.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we'll take 24 token of appreciation. Okay. We will now take a moment for a token of appreciation and documentation. We also invite all our speakers and honored guests to join us on stage for this memorable occasion. We also invite all our speakers and also our honored guests to join us on the stage. We will take a picture for 2 times. First, we'd like to invite the head of study program, organizing chair, keynote speakers, and 100 guests to come the stage and face the audience. Please face the audience. For the documentation, I will count in 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, once again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, for the next picture, please face the screen. Please face the screen so we can take a picture together with the audience. For the documentation team. Okay. Now we will take a picture with the audience. For the documentation team, everyone, please look at the camera. I will count in 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, once again, please do the spirit PNG. Spirit PNG, yes. Okay, the audience also do the spirit PNG. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will move on to our next session. This is a keynote speaker session. To facilitate this part of the program, we'd like to invite our moderator for the keynote session, Ms. Afifah Muharika, PhD, in Applied Linguistics and Inclusive Education at Griffith University. She's a researcher at National Research and Innovation Agency of Republik Indonesia, or known as BRIN. She also the founder of Muharika Institute promoting inclusive teaching for all. She is also has taught special need in PNJ for English since 2013. And now, please welcome Miss Afifah Muharika to the stage.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Afifah Muharika. Now we'd like to invite all our keynote speakers to join us. First is Professor Anna Gat from the University of Western Australia. Please welcome Professor Anna, and also Dr. Sofrina Nurman from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. Please welcome Dr. Sofrina Nurman. Let's give them a warm welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Um, Good morning, everyone. My name is Safifa Muharika, and it's an honor for me to be given chances to facilitate our first keynote session today. So we are here to explore how artificial intelligence is impacting language and translation. And I'm excited to introduce our two distinguished speakers here, each with unique insights into AI and its influence on translation and also language. Okay, but before I introduce our first speaker, I would like to describe the rules that we are going to have in our session. So each of speakers will present one after the other without breaks. Yeah, so there would be 50 minutes for each presenter to present in this session. And then after that, after all the presenters present their material, we are going to have a Q&A session or question and answer session. So you can prepare the questions while they present and make sure it's brief so we can involve a lot or more people in the discussion. Okay, so I would like to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Anagat. Am I pronouncing your words right? Okay, yeah. So our first speaker is Dr. Anagat, who is the Director of Graduate Translation Studies at the University of Western Australia. So she flew away directly from Perth to Jakarta to attend our session here. She's a highly respected scholar in translation and language education, and she recently published on well-being in language learning. Dr. Gett holds a PhD in European languages and cultures and has a remarkable record in translation and education. She's not only a fellow of the Higher Education Academy, but also an award-winning educator, recognized for her excellence in teaching in the Master of Translation Studies. In recent years, her publications have focused on well-being in language learning, including a study presented at the INTED conference comparing Spanish and Italian language learning approaches. In addition, one of her external prominent roles is NATI. Is that how we pronounce that? NATI Regional Advising Committee. So NATI is a national accreditation authority for translation and interpretation in Australia. Okay, so today, Dr. Gott will be exploring the evolving role of translator in the age of AI. So everyone, please join me in welcoming Dr. Anna Gott. Excuse me, Mas, can you help me? I'm afraid that it will lose. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid.
Thank you. Terima kasih. Terima kasih sudah datang. Nama saya Anna Gad, and that's about as much as my Bahasa Indonesia goes. It's very, very rusty. It's not one of my specialization language, but I have studied a little bit of it, and I look forward to improving as this collaboration happens. I think your English, if you're the students, your English is better than my Bahasa Indonesia. So yeah, I just wanted to say that it's great to be here today. It's phenomenal to see so many youthful young faces full of hope and people who love languages and translation. Whoops, this is falling. Better? Okay. Yeah, so it's great to be surrounded by people that love languages just like me. And I'm a bit older now, but it sort of feels like yesterday that I was sort of metaphorically sitting where you're sitting now, just a student of languages, of Spanish and English, and full of, aspirations. So today I'll be talking about AI because everybody has a question about AI, don't you? Pretty sure you do. And everybody asks, oh, is it better than humans? Is it worse? Well, we'll see. Huh? So as we were saying, I'm from UWA in Perth, beautiful city, phenomenal weather almost all year round. So come on down to Perth when you complete your degrees and come study in the Master of Translation Studies. It's a beautiful master. We offer 10 languages, including Bahasa Indonesia. And this year, 2024, it's the 10-year anniversary of the Master of Translation Studies. Been a long time. I've been around since the beginning. I was doing my PhD when it first opened. So yeah, phenomenal place to be in. So some of you, especially those of you who teach, might recognize that there's a quote in my title, the task of the translator. That is not my original wording. It is Walter Benjamin's wording. Went there? Oh no. Takes a bit of time to... Can we change the slide to the following one? Perfect. Awesome. All right. So Walter Benjamin, let's do this. So Walter Benjamin in 1923. So what does that mean? 100 years ago, basically, right? Wrote an article called The Task of the Translator. That's the German original there. Die Aufgabe des Übersetzer, the task of the translator. So what I'd like to do today, if you follow me, is start from 100 years ago, what it was like to be a translator 100 years ago, what were the tasks, the goals of a translator 100 years ago, and then compare it to now, particularly in light of the big improvement and advances in technology with artificial intelligence translator. And then finish with saying what the task of the translator is in 2024, after the improvement of AI. All right, let's see if I can do it right this time. Yay! So the article, The Task of the Translator, first appeared in print in the incipit of the Tableau Parisien by Baudelaire. This is Charles Baudelaire. He was a poet, a French poet, okay? Benjamin translated him into German and wrote an introduction, a scholarly introduction, in which he talked about the task of the translator. To give you a rundown of what it was like, this is a summary. So those of you that are experts in the field, apologies for shortening it, but this is what I teach my students in Perth. So I'm happy to be teaching you guys today. He said we shouldn't hide the fact that we are translating. We're not producing an original, we're producing a translation. Don't hide that. That's not something you should conceal, okay? Make it obvious to the reader. You should try and preserve elements of the source language and culture. What is that, the source language and culture? Do you know? That's the original, okay? Source, the beginning. So try and preserve elements of the source language and culture in the target language and culture. What is that? The language you're translating into. So if you're translating English into Bahasa Indonesia, English is your source language and Bahasa Indonesia is your target language. Use this terminology. Otherwise, if you use translation, it can mean what's in between, right? Because translation is what we do in between the two languages. So source and target. And according to Benjamin, we should preserve elements of the source language in the target language. You should try and stain, okay, the target language with elements from the original language. And the core concept in the task of the translator is to try and give the original an afterlife, like a second life, okay? Don't create a replica, try and create an echo of it in the target language. And try to produce what is a translucent or a transparent translation. Okay, you're not writing an original. You're not writing something new. You're not a writer, you're a translator. Okay, so these were concepts that were formulated 100 years ago, very ahead of his time, Benjamin. Bear in mind, he translated mostly literature. Okay, he was a translator of Edgar Allan Poe. Are you familiar with Edgar Allan Poe? American literature, you know, horror, that kind of genre, really fun to read. And he translated poetry as well. So literature with a certain importance and a certain meaning to it. So let's fast forward, remember these concepts, and let's look at the technologies that we have available in 2024. On the next slide, there's a video. Can we play it?
In this video, I'm going to show you several different machine translation services as an introduction to the types of technologies available. Remember, technological tools appear, change, and get removed at a rapid pace. So an understanding of the basic concepts should be the goal, as that will allow you to analyze, learn, and master any tool you encounter. As we explore the applications, reflect on the functionality of each tool. Let's start with the tools that require very little understanding and don't provide options for human intervention in the machine translation process. First, we'll look at the direct translation in Microsoft Word. Open your document, select Review in the menu ribbon, and open the Translate function. You can translate either a highlighted segment or the whole document. Once you select that option, you can input your source and target languages. And Word will output a new file with that translation. Next, we'll look at Google Translate, which you're probably already familiar with. You can access this via translate.google.com. Google Translate has a comparatively large number of target and source languages. You can input your text on the left and select your target on the right. There is a 5,000 character limit, but you can move through your document by pressing the arrows at the bottom of the page. When you hover over a translated text segment in the target, it will highlight the matching segment in the source text so you can compare. Another tool in a similar style is Quillbot, available at quillbot.com/translate. Again, here you can input your text, choose your source and target language, and compare translated segments with a 5,000 character limit. Our next tool, DeepL, available at deepl.com/en/translator, has a lot of similar functionality as the last two tools, but it builds on it with the ability to click on the target segment and see alternate translation options and summarize translations as well. However, the free version only has a 3,000 character limit. I wonder which of these tools most accurately translates your language pair. What about narrative versus technical texts? Now, let's look at generative text AI, or more specifically, large language models, or LLMs. ChatGPT is probably the most well-known, and you can access this for free at chatgpt.com. You'll need to ask the program to translate your text into a target language by typing something like, translate this into Italian, and then copying the text you wish to translate. ChatGPT will allow you to query the specifics of the translation, such as why did you leave part-time in English and not translate it? The results you get may differ from time to time. The first time I asked this question of ChatGPT, the program told me I was right and changed the translation to something similar to what I put in. The second time I asked the same query, it gave me its process for why it chose part-time and not another translation. In this way, you can interact with the machine doing the translation to guide it with your knowledge and expertise. Different AI iterations are referred to as models, and each model will function differently with different strengths and weaknesses. Another model to try is Google Gemini, which is accessible via gemini.google.com. This functions in a similar way to ChatGPT, but you should see which model best suits your language pair. Providing feedback to these models via conversation and or thumbing up or down each response will theoretically improve the accuracy of the responses. It is important to note that the AI does not understand the text it is outputting. It just does a very good job of sounding that way. You will likely find contextual, grammatical, and language pair weaknesses across these AI models. This is where your study of language, understanding of context, translation training, and expertise will shine through. Computer-assisted translation, or CAT programs, have been around for a long time and are now integrating AI into their feature set. As an example, let's look at STL Trados Studio. It boasts its own version of Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI model. Along with this, CAT programs such as STL work with other great features as well. Translation memories, for example, allows the software to remember how you, the translator, translated the same or similar text in the previous translation and applies that quickly to a new translation. Term bases allow specific technical terms to be stored to ensure accuracy across multiple translations. On top of that, there's a lot of project management functionality, such as completion rates, accuracy markers, sharing and reviewing documents, and storing them in a centrally accessible location. All these features combined make CapTools a powerful assistant to the translator.
Fantastic. So that speaking was Mr. Mitchell Chiappalone. Mr. Mitchell is my colleague at the University of Western Australia. His title is Digital Technologist. So he's someone with knowledge of IT, information technology, but at the same time, he's also worked with languages a lot. So as you can see at the top in the corner, you can see Trends 5004. That is the unit that we do the most learning about technologies for the translator, as Mitchell calls them quite cleverly, because some of them are AI, some of them are not AI. And that's called Technologies for the Translator. That's a really good unit, except one that I always have to keep on changing and has changed every single year that I've offered it, because the technology just keeps on improving, doesn't it? And distinction that, can you hear me if I speak without the microphone? I think it might be better, yeah? No? Like this? Better? Okay, there's a lot of echo. All right, so a distinction that Mitchell goes through is that between CapTools and AI proper. There we go. Oh, can we go back one, please? Fabulous. So there are other distinctions in the literature. I have a whole thesis here on the evolution of technology from 2014 through to 2023. But I would be teaching you for 3 days and I don't want to bore you. So in this unit, what we do is we talk about CapTools and we talk about AI proper. The CapTools are very complex to teach. Something like STL Trados or MemoQ, really, especially when they first came out, they were so complex. They're not user-friendly. They take a long time for you to get accustomed to them, but they are reliable. So they better support localization projects. Okay, when we localize, it means that, say I'm selling this microphone to Indonesia, I'm going to try and translate, but also be very aware of the culture of Indonesia. So selling a product there. There's a whole industry called localization industry. Okay, for localization projects, especially those that span many different languages, something like a CAT tool is very good because it ensures that you're going to be consistent in many languages. For example, in English to Bahasa Indonesia, but in English to Italian, English to Spanish, you want to make sure that you have consistency. And these tools are reliable, okay? Now, AI proper is basically the opposite. Artificial intelligence is not reliable. It is not reliable. It doesn't matter what language we're talking about. And I can guarantee, because I work with some of the most spoken languages in the world, Spanish. Spanish is spoken in so many countries all over the world. It's very much on the internet. So AI does quite well with Spanish and English, but it's not reliable. And it's not consistent. It'll change your keywords, okay? So it'll call the microphone, mic, I don't know, technological apparatus to speak. And it will be very confusing because the reader could be like, okay, so is she still talking about a microphone or is she talking about something different? So not reliable, not consistent, definitely less reliable and less consistent, but far easier to use. As you've seen, the video that Mitchell gave was 5 minutes. And we went through 7 different applications and technologies in 5 minutes. So if I've covered everything in this slide, yes, I have. We'll go to the next one. So see what I was saying? One how-to video in 5 minutes, whereas how-to videos for SDL, that's an average, 20 minutes. SDL Trados, 30 minutes. MemoQ, a little less. So you need to teach more your students about how to use the CAT tools. It's more complicated. You teach them the main functions. With my students at UWA, I teach them SDL Trados and MemoQ because SDL Trados is the industry standard. It's very expensive. If a student ends up working in the localization business, they'll need to use it. But typically, the agency that you're working for will pay for it and will give you a code. Okay? Whereas MemoQ is cheaper and it's the best thing for students who have just graduated. They're starting to translate as freelancers. They can't afford the bill for SDL Trados, right? Artificial intelligence. So as a teacher, I don't have to explain. It's kind of funny when people tell me, oh, can you teach me how to use AI translation? It always makes me laugh because there's nothing to teach, right? It does the thing. You just go on the website and you say to it, translate English to Bahasa Indonesia. What you have to teach is prediction of common errors, biases that the machine keeps doing. And then there's a lot of work, I think, within the language pairs that we have. And that's where our expert teachers of the translation from English into Bahasa Indonesia and vice versa, that's where their knowledge will come in. So there's more sort of error spotting. You're more trained to figure out what errors translation machine is going to do. And then there's hybrids. So SDL Trados has had a number of different names over the years. It was born in Stuttgart in Germany in 1984 as a language service provider. As you can see there, you can read the slides. It was named GmbH, then it became SDL Trados. It's been the industry standard for about decades, right? And now it has the potential to keep that superiority going because it's become a hybrid of CAT tools and AI. So it's become even stronger. I think it has potential to stay on the market even longer. So there's a video there, but we can skip it. It's very much, it's from their website, so it's a sales pitch. What I'd like to talk about instead, there. No, we're not going to the next slide. Maybe not. Is, where are we up to? Here. Is a report that I did across 6 different languages with my students of Translation 5004, that unit that I just mentioned. And we looked at, this is what I asked them to do. The languages were Bahasa Indonesia, Chinese, Mandarin Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Italian, and Spanish. So I was able to select my best students and I assessed their reports, even though these are just preliminary results. I have had the time to mark them. I haven't had enough time to, you know, go through them as I would for a publication, an academic publication maybe. And we used, I basically told them across the technologies that Mitchell showed us in the video to, yes, to prepare this. I'll give you some time to read points 1, 2, and 3. So I asked them to translate 2 birth certificates, okay? 3 birth certificates using 2 technologies from the video that we've all seen. Their choice. They had to write to me as if I were the English client, okay? So giving them a real life scenario. And they had to write a report, which is the report that I analyzed, in which they sort of were reflecting and analyzing, okay, what does this AI do well? What doesn't it do well? And what does this other AI do well? So let's look at the summary. Fabulous. So what was really good about the assessment, if I say so myself, because I invented it, it was the fact that it was a real life scenario. Students appreciated the fact that they were able to do something that they will be doing in their careers as translators in Perth, if they choose to stay in Perth, or back home if they decide to go home. And so it was both formative and summative. The teachers here will understand what that means. The students were assessed, but at the same time, they were learning where we were assessing them. Okay, and these are phrases that my students actually said, definitely good tools to help a translator. Notice the language there. It doesn't say it does the translation for you. It says it helps. It's a tool, okay? It doesn't do the job by itself. Definitely improved from earlier versions. And they were talking about Google Translate. I mean, I don't know about Bahasa Indonesia, but I remember some Google translations from Spanish and they were hilarious. I used to hold my belly from laughing. They were terrible. They're better now, but they're still just a tool for you guys to use, okay? Don't let anybody say that they don't need the human. You still need the human. See, proofreading is essential by a human brain, one of ours. That proofreading is essential, okay? Everybody agreed across the 6 languages and the 20-ish students that I had that it was needed, okay? So AI, what does it do? It cuts entire chunks of the text, entire paragraphs, decides not to translate it. Korean was one of the languages where it chose not to translate phrases randomly. What else did it do? Common technology errors. So in Italian, for example, a lot of names have meaning. My maiden name, Colombi, actually means doves, a symbol of peace. And addresses as well have a meaning. And the street my mum used to live on means hill. So if I have my birth certificate, right? And I am Anna Colombi from Dosso Street, I am this person. But if I become Anna Doves from Hill Street, I'm a different person. That is a huge responsibility when it comes to a birth certificate. You cannot translate my name. Even if my name has a meaning and it means doves, you cannot translate it. It's my name. You cannot translate my address. It's my name. Okay? Very, very important stuff. And as I mentioned before, language specific issues that you as experts in Bahasa Indonesia will know because this is your first language. Okay? These type of results were not just in my report. I noticed there's a study by Ehrensberger Dow, and it's fresh 2023 study in which results are misleadingly fluent. What does it mean misleadingly fluent? It looks great on the surface. There are a lot of problems underneath. When you dive deeper, you see the problems. So it can lead someone who's not an expert in translation and languages to think, oh, look, cheaper, more efficient way of translating, except no, it's not. It's going to create some issues and some problems. Bear in mind, let's see if I can do it. Yes, bear in mind that these were only birth certificates. They were just birth certificates. Yes, you have a lot of responsibility, but it's a very standard text. It's simple, it's informative, it's developed on one level. All right, so it's not a poem and it's not an advertisement. I'm not trying to convince anybody with an operative text, which is what you use in advertising, for example. Okay, so this is a very easy text to translate, and still technology made a lot of errors, changed a lot of very important things. We had to change and we had to proofedit. You know, they're relatively easy to work on, and I chose them because in Perth, about 80% of my students in their first year as freelance translators, this is what they do between 2 and 10 times a week. Okay, so it's as if I translated your birth certificate and your birth certificate and your birth certificate many, many times over each week. It's repetitive. That's why the technology is good, because it helps us, but you still need to do your part. So what is the task of the translator in 2024 at the time of AI? It might have shifted towards proofreading a little bit. And this is something that Anthony Pym, who's like one of the pillars of translation, has been saying, has been quoted to be saying. Although human intervention is still needed, and particularly in certain sectors and fields, genres especially. So let's have a look at these ones where we're still needed, right? Let's focus on these ones. So official documents in Australia must be stamped by a Ngati translator. So if I want to use AI, I can use it, but then you still need to come to me as a client. You can't just put your daughter's birth certificate on ChatGPT and take it to the Australian government. They will not be happy. They're very picky with the documents. Very good that Ngati does that. Every time there's high stakes, money involved, business, localization, they still want us, okay? And I can testify to that because I've worked Spanish into Italian and people think that they're very similar languages. I mean, in the words of my own brother, he said, why are you even studying Spanish? It's just Italian with a final S. So even if we allow for these two languages to be similar, you still need a translator, and businesses will pay for you to go, even if these two languages, Spanish and Italian, are very similar. So I did prove my brother wrong with that one. What else? Aged care, you know, we are growing older as a society. We have generations of nonni in Italy, in Australia, that have migrated from Italy and don't speak English, and they need to speak to their nurses. They need interpreters. Interpreting, we still very much need human people. You might be helped by AI, but we need the people, right? Healthcare. I read an article that said, I think it's still from Ironberger's Dow, basically they used Google Translate to translate medical scripts, and they caused damage. The advice that Google Translate gave was dangerous for the patients. It's absolutely terrible. Forensic translation. I worked a lot with the WA police, with the court systems. In court, you need interpreters. They're not going to trust AI, and rightly so. You know, this is really important to have a human. All right, so where else is it important to have a human? Literature and creative translation. So AI, don't get misled by how good AI is in English, monolingually, so English into English. If you ask ChatGPT to write the Divine Comedy in like a 12-year-old would, or Shakespeare, that's an easier example, they'll do it. It'll do it quite well. It's not as good when you go from one language to the other creatively. Haha, you need our brains. So it's good. It's good for us. Something that's really important is the layman's expectation. Does anybody know what a layman is? The average person. So not you guys in here, because you know about languages, you're studying English, but the average person out there in Jakarta and Depok. All right? They don't know how good or not good AI translation is. They can make a judgment, but theirs is not an informed judgment like yours. And those people still think that to translate books of literature, you need a human brain. So until they think like that, the publishing houses will come and ask us to translate, and we still have a job. So it's fantastic. Something that came up in my report, the students said, so the activity 2, the one after the one you've seen, was about other genres and expressive text types, so books, basically, novels, poetry. And they said machines can't feel, so they cannot translate literature, because literature is about feeling. It's about that human feeling. You're a machine, you're not going to be able to do it. Okay? So until that happens, we still have a job. We're not out of one. And until the readers think that in order to guarantee dynamic equivalence, so feeling the same feel that the original reader had, you're going to be translating literature, because people ultimately want to read about human experiences. And that's it. Thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Hello. Thank you so much, Anna, for your presentations. It's a very insightful, yeah? And I believe that all of you also have a lot of things to ask, but hold on. We are going to go to the second speaker first, and I would like to introduce our second speaker. So our second speaker is Dr. Safrina Nurman. She's a lecturer in English literature at University Pendidikan Indonesia, or UPI, in Bandung, with a doctorate in literature from University of Indonesia, or UI. Dr. Raden Safrina Nurman specializes in children literature, cultural studies, and language education, and she has contributed extensively to the study of Indonesian children films and literature. Her achievements include pioneering research on nationalism in Indonesian children's films and an insightful study on the portrayal of local wisdom in children's literature. She's presented at numerous international conferences, including a study analyzing traditional values in popular media, like Running Man. In addition, she also served as an editorial boards and reviews for national journals such as Mimbar and also Meta Sastra. So let's warmly welcome Dr. Raden Safrina. We look forward to listen to her insights on the current topic with the title "A Baby Boomer Language Teacher's Concerns About AI in the Classroom." So Dr. Safrina, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Ibu Afifah. Can I just stand here? Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi and good morning. Thank you very much to the committee for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here and very nervous because Ibu Ina, my bestie, she once asked me to talk in this seminar, but she was talking about literary translation, and I translated some Sundanese literary work to English. So I think I was going to share about that. Yeah, but later on, Bu Ina showed me the flyer, and it's about AI. So I was so shocked because I'm not an AI person, yeah, as you probably know, because I'm a baby boomer. You know baby boomers? Yes, I'm your grandmother. So I'm not a baby boomer, but I think I have, after consultation with Ibu Ina, I decided to share with you my experience as someone who have to transition from being in a manual world to the digital world. Yep. So here I started with this particular column from the Time magazine. Yeah. So she Victoria Livingstone is a high school teacher. And she wrote a column and she said, I quit teaching because of ChatGPT. This fall is the first in nearly 20 years that I am not returning to the classroom. So I think she found the intervention of AI into classroom very frustrating. Yeah, so that she decided to have an early retirement. Yeah, and I've been also thinking about that. So that's why I choose about the trust issues. Yeah, there are so many issues when we talk about AI. Yeah, from my perspective, for example. But what we are going to talk is about trust. You know trust? Yes. Do you like to be trusted? Yeah, of course. Yeah. So ini saya gini-gini sendiri atau next? Okay, so I am a baby boomer teacher. Next, and here is, can you find me in this picture? No, because I'm young at that time. Yeah, I was young. So I'm somewhere there and they are my first students. Yeah. So next, so my first students, next, should I? So my first students are Vietnamese and Cambodian refugees. Yeah. So I started teaching in 1982. Your mother was not born yet. Yeah, jadi artinya, yeah. So this is my first experience in teaching. Everything was manual. Engagement with students were so encouraged that whenever I was supervised, every week I had my supervisor come to my class and they will count the number of words that I produce during teaching. Yeah. So the students should speak. I shouldn't speak like now. I shouldn't do that. Yeah. I should have lots of activities. So that's the kind of background that I have. So no phone, no AI, nothing. Just my own creativity, the students' creativity to make us interact in the class. And that is why my teaching tend to be, but however, my teaching tend to be traditional. I put quotation marks because traditional is very difficult to define. What is traditional? Yeah, I don't know. Are you traditional? No? Am I traditional? I don't know. Maybe sometimes I'm postmodern, yeah? So, but by saying that my teaching is traditional is that I tend to use things overhead projectors. Overhead projectors. Do you know overhead projectors? Ada yang tahu nggak? Mahasiswa? Sudah tidak tahu. You don't know overhead projectors? You know film strips and videos, of course, yeah. And then we have face-to-face communication. Oh, ke sini. This is what a digital classroom probably look like, because I've never been to a really digital classroom. Yeah, maybe like this. Yeah. So here we have 7 features of a digital classroom. For example, you have online learning platforms. You have it too here, yeah. So you can also it is available anytime. So it is flexible, right? So maybe that's the thing that you enjoy. Ya. Kemudian it is interactive. It is personalized. Yeah. So the computers, the AI learn with you, yeah, and then learn about you from you, yeah. That's the thing. And then you have collaborative tools like virtual classrooms, yeah. So I can tell you that these are the things that sometimes make me so confused, yeah, with all these things, because I'm a baby boomer, yeah, that's the problem. And then we have blended learning, like hybrid models, like now we are having a blended learning. And then you have the one that we are talking about, artificial intelligence. You have AI tutors sometimes. Yeah. Do you like AI tutors or do you like your lecturers? Good. Like artinya your lecturers is doing great here, yeah. So good for the lecturers. Tepuk tangan untuk lecturersnya. Okay. And then you have global connectivity. This is what makes the world smaller because of the global connectivity provided by this digital world. Ya. Jadi ini hanya mengingatkan saja how we are now actually are always being in trance. Ya. Bukan in trance kesurupan, but TRANS. Ya. Jadi kita jalan-jalan ke sana kemari. Okay. Sorry. Next. Now, so here with the rise of AI education, let's have, I think we have mentioned all of them. Yeah. So these are considered to be what is happening in the educational world. Yeah. We have mentioned some of them. We have language learning assistance and then gamified learning experience. Do you have it? Yeah, lots of games, lots of activities, yeah, probably in senior high schools, yeah, but maybe here also. And automated grading tadi. Kemudian, nah, but what does the research say? So I took just one research, yeah, from Citas Malang, which was conducted in 2024, and it says that it is a research on students' perception, and it is the research found that students almost always use AI. Do you agree with the findings? It is conducted in 10 universities in Indonesia. Yeah, from Universitas Malang. And then students use a number of AI tools to improve their language skills. They listed about 39 AI tools that are used by students to improve their language skills. Yeah? And then students think that the integration of AI in education is beneficial, yeah, and enjoyable. So this makes me think, because I have an experience in my class about the use of AI. So I'm teaching a class, children's literature and young adult literature. And I have very small number of students, only 6 students. So we have a very intense discussion usually. Yeah? So I give them an assignment at the beginning of the semester to go visit a library and find out about children's literature that are available or about the available in the libraries. Yeah? So they The 6 of them, they go to many libraries in Bandung, yeah, and they went to different libraries, private libraries, state libraries, yeah, and this is okay. So the assignment is a library visit. Yeah. So this is the assignment. Okay, so you have to visit some libraries in Bandung, and the students have to visit some libraries in Bandung and then observe, make notes on the children's literature section, and find out about the collection, the curation process, the layout of the library, and then the librarian's role and function, and many things. Yeah, they just have to observe, and they go to more than, there are 6 of them, then they go to more than 4 or 5 libraries. Yeah? And then after doing this, they have to report, each of them in class, they will have to report to me, and we have to discuss what is the library like, yeah? What they think about the library and the findings, yeah? What they think. Because the library are in Indonesia, so they talk about Indonesian children's literature, which are very impoverished, yeah, poor, very poor compared to English children's literature. For example, we don't really have classics in Indonesian children's literature, things like that the students found out from the library, and the librarian do not really know also about children's literature. And we talk very intensely and intensely, and in a very, I find so many interesting findings from the students. After that, I asked the students, the 6 of them, to create a project we call Dream Library. So based on that visit and their knowledge about children's literature and their knowledge about libraries from online resources, they will have to make a dream library. Because of the interaction that we have had, because of the discussion, I have very high expectations. Yeah? I think the students have very unique ideas, each of them. But see, this is what I found. So they then give me a PowerPoint presentation of their project Dream Library. And next, maybe I'm going to show you the students' work. Ya. Bisa linknya dimunculkan, Mbak? Nah, so this is the students' work. Ya. As soon as I see it, I hope it's not from AI. Yeah? Because what they share with me in the classroom are so rich, so colorful, so unique. But this is what they come about. So it's a bit quite disappointing. Saya nggak tahu bisa maju nggak nih. Nah, very AI, don't you? First glance, so disappointed. I was thinking about something colorful, something unique, but this come out, so maybe they look into some kind of proposal, formal proposal from somewhere, yeah. But this is actually what the students produce. So they use language which feels dry, garing, kan gitu ya. For me, it's so dry. Where are they? Where are the students who talk to me and share with me so many interesting things? Yeah? It just disappeared in this AI. Yeah? So in this AI, in this work. Yeah? So I feel very disappointed. Yeah, when okay. So you can see they're very good. Yeah, they are very good, but they lack something. Yeah, so I expect more, which is actually their uniqueness. So I think you should learn more. You should appreciate your uniqueness more now. Yeah? As you can see, yeah, I told you they share with me so many interesting things. But why did they come up like this kan gitu ya. Jadi itu salah satu hal yang mengecewakan. Disappointing. Alright, so and jadi mungkin mahasiswanya tidak lulus saja ya. Okay, I think we can go back to the bagaimana mengembalikan ke PowerPoint yang tadi, yang awal. Ini keluar saja. Right, so I think it is important for the students to realize how disappointing it is for the lecturer to be surprised by things like that. It looks good, but it's not good. Yeah. So, I think Ibu Anna mentioned something like probably you should not about translation tadi. Ada hal yang she says about giving it an afterlife gitu ya. Jadi you read about libraries in different places and you create a proposal of a dream library, give it an afterlife. Artinya you have to put something to make it alive. Not like something that is dry tadi ya. Okay, so here is the, okay, we can continue. So this is in a glance, yeah, it looks good, but I don't know, I don't really like it. So the project Dream Library indicates for me, students have worked hard, yeah, but they rely on AI. And I had made a survey and they realized it, yeah. Like, for example, there are from among 76 students, yeah, not my students, from many schools. Yeah, so I did a survey because I'm going, Ibu Ina asked me to come here, so I did a survey. And you can say that the students are also realizing these three things, yeah, that there are issue of privacy and ethics, yeah, and then they are too reliant on technology. And they also are not sure about the accuracy. Still, even though they realize this, still they choose AI to help them big time, yeah, for their assignment. Okay, so what should be concerning for us? Because this is where I think about my relation with the students. Yeah? I have trusted them to create something that will show them, that will showcase their uniqueness. Yeah? But they believe in AI. Yeah? So there is an issue of trust here, first of all. Yeah? Nah itu. Jadi trust is very important. It's not about your trust in AI, but also your trust in your teacher, your trust with your trust on your student or on your peer, yeah, on your friend. So this is my thoughts. Yeah. So the pre-project presentation by each student were nicely and uniquely presented. However, the final project presentation was like emotional connection, it feels dry. And then it lacks language sensibility. When I said language sensibility, they don't think who is the assignment for. Yeah, it's for Bu Safrina, for example. And she has discussed with us like this, and probably she wants to have a more informal language, kan gitu ya. Itu semacam language sensibility, lacking language sensibility. And also, because I have talked with them, I have given them supervision. When they come up with something like that, it seems as if I didn't do all that. Ya, itu yang harus diingat. Kemudian, ya, indicated oleh, dan satu hal lagi, when you talk about uniqueness, gitu ya, when you talk about uniqueness, the assignment that was given to me by my students show that they don't pay much attention to local things, their own needs, the children, Indonesian children's needs, gitu, tidak kehilangan cultural awareness. So you have to think about that, ya. Localizing. Tadi juga ada ya, Ibu Ana mengatakan adanya project localization karena memang penting. Ya, because it's important for us. Ya. Localization make us more aware, make us more sensitive about what we need. So remember that. And so, now, how should I trust the students? Also, quite an obvious AI intervention, yeah? How should I trust the students after this? And how should the students trust me? So there is something missing between me and my students. Something is missing. Yeah, we have talked, we have discussed, but they don't get what I want. Kan gitu ya? Jadi ada something which is missing. So does it mean that we do not trust one another? Yeah. So I think in the classroom, yeah, AI aside, trust is important. One of an Indonesian professor, Professor Husnu Maria, once I saw her YouTube and she said the most important thing that should be taught to students, should be instilled in the student's mind is honesty. Yeah. So you have to be honest with yourself, and you will get, you will earn the trust from others. Yeah. Jadi, so here is the experience, the trust issues that I encounter when I come across students' work with AI. Okay. Okay, so here is trust and AI use. My concerns, let's see. What are my concerns are the obvious. First, students seemingly improve. Yeah. Language presentation. Because if you dive deeper, it's not as good as you think. I think it's the same, just like what Bu Ana have just said. Very similar, the same. Yeah? When you look, this is not good. Yeah, or the presentation is good, but when you look into the text deeper, then you know that it's not as satisfying as it should be. And then, the students' knowledge. What happened to things that we have discussed? Gitu ya? What happened? And so many ironies, so many contradictions between what the students produce, what they say, and then what they say that AI is not accurate, but they rely on AI. Yes, so things like that. And then next, my concern also students' use of AI. How critical have you been on yourself when you use AI? And then the last one is, what do you understand about ethics? Ya, jadi itu difikirkan. Ethics mungkin nanti Ibu Ina akan lebih dalam membicarakan ethics. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so this is what I mean by the irony. Yeah? So students think about this. Yeah, they are worried about their dependence on technology. They are worried about the accuracy of AI products, but they use AI. Ya, mungkin karena kebiasaan SMS, ya, kebut semalam saja gitu ya pekerjaannya. Oke, kemudian terakhir, nah, the less obvious is an erosion of trust. That make me sad. Yeah, I don't trust the students. Maybe the students don't trust me. You don't trust your friends, kan gitu. Jadi think in a broader sense or deeper, probably you see that the use of AI has made us seems like you take me for granted. Misalnya you don't trust, you do not think that I'm going to check your assignment. Itu kan no trust. Ya, jadi hal-hal seperti itu yang memunculkan pikiran saya bahwa there is an erosion of trust between us. Okay, and false confidence. That's what I'm really scared, yeah, of, because you come up with something which look good, and it looks good, and it meet the criteria. So you got good marks, but actually it's not really good. Like I told you, if you dig in to the text, you know that it's not really good. But you have the confidence already. Yeah, you have the confidence already, and you are confident because of something which is not really stable, which is not really rooted in your own knowledge. Yeah, so you have to be very careful about it. Okay, so ini as you probably this is the data that I get, and with the percentage it's analyzed a little bit, but this is the raw data, and one student said that AI menimbulkan budaya malas. Ya. Kemudian nilai keterampilan mahasiswa menurun. Jadi very few students realize that. Yeah, very few students. When they ask about the challenge of AI, from almost 80 students, only 2 students think about AI as something which contributes to a culture of laziness, ya, mager, ya, misalnya itu. Ya, kemudian nilai keterampilan, you do not realize that you are not as good as what is being packaged by AI. Okay, all right. So I think that is my last. Oh, not yet. So that is why I understand when Victoria Livingstone said this. Yeah, but this is her explanation. Yeah. Touch. Keep remember. I'm very happy that you like being in the classroom and you love your lecturers. Tadi ya itu sudah kalian katakan juga. And then you have to embrace AI while strengthening the role of a teacher. So as a teacher, I think we should learn about AI. I learn about AI. I use AI. I found AI helpful, but I will not use it as for the whole world of my just a tool. Yeah? But we should also remember that it's a tool, not a threat. Jadi tetap gunakan sebagai tool, ya, not threat. Oke, terakhir. Terakhir dari saya, I don't trust people who buy shoes online. Tidak tahu kenapa. Right? Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ibu Safrina. I would like to invite Anna back to the stage. Okay, as a good moderator, I have to make a summary. To be honest, I want to open ChatGPT and then ask about the summary of this session. And what Ibu Safrina has mentioned to us is very relatable because some of us are lecturers and most of us are students here. So we are very relate, yeah, with the explanation of Dr. Safrina. And also there are some key points that actually I jot down during Anna and also Ibu Safrina's presentation. Anna, maybe the keyword from Anna is maybe the stain, preserve the stain. Yeah, it's like maybe AI cannot do that now. Yeah, so that's why we are as a translator, or you guys are as the translator have to take care of that. Yeah. And actually I have some question about that, but maybe later I will hold it and I will allow all of you and also the participants in the Zoom to also ask questions. Maybe you can throw the question through the chat room and then we will read the questions, read aloud the questions for the speakers. And also, Ibu Safrina, maybe the keyword from Ibu Safrina that I got is about trust issue, Ibu. Yeah, so it's the trust issue between the boomer teachers, whether the boomer teachers believe that this is the students' work, and then also the students maybe also have a trust issue as well with the, yeah, so it's all about trust issue, yeah. So let's extend our discussion by having question and answer session. So I would like to invite two audience, maybe two persons from the audience to ask questions. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there are 4. So maybe the first speakers, the guy with the black shirts. Yes, you will be the first one asking question. Or do you have speakers there? Committee? Oh, okay. So I will take one from here and the other one from there. Yeah. A gentleman and a lady there over there. Okay. Please introduce yourself. Or you want to use this?
Okay, thank you for the time. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Gabriel Alpori. I'm from Bekasi. So, in your presentation, you state that the difference between humans and AI, it's primarily based on the creativity, right? Based on the creativity. So I find this perspective is inaccurate because as many people can already express themselves through AI. As many, well, it's true that AI cannot feel based on my experience with AI. It can construct sentence that align with the user's desired style. So although it may not be perfect yet, knowledge continues to advance every second, and there seems to be on possibility for AI to completely dominate humans as translator. Therefore, are there any other solution besides creativity that could help space that role of human translator?
Okay.
I think you were standing a little too close to that. I couldn't hear much. Can we see the written? Do you mind if we see the written question? You've got it on your phone, your question? Come on over.
Is your questions from ChatGPT? Okay, I think
Come
it's
on
about
over.
creativity. Yeah. So he's asking about creativity and creativity.
So man. Yeah. Your perspective of AI creativity and human perspective.
My perspective of AI creativity. All right, I find this perspective in I don't think you caught my. I don't think you caught my. You fully comprehended what I was saying. I didn't say that the difference between human and AI in translation is primarily based in creativity. In fact, I recognized that AI can be very creative, very successfully, especially when it's doing it monolingually, so within the same language. So if you ask it to work Bahasa Indonesia to Bahasa Indonesia, it'll do a good job. And in fact, that's why it is a little bit scary. But what it doesn't do is that jump from being creative in Bahasa Indonesia to being creative in English and or back. And that is quintessentially where you guys can still work. And nonetheless, people's expectation, the layman's expectation, is still to read something that has been created by a human brain. I'm translating something at the moment. It's a kid's book, actually, Italian to English. And the editor, the publisher, has chosen to have translated by a human on the cover because that's how much the readers are still not just expecting, but even giving value and importance to what we can do with our brains. Use it as a tool. In that case, I didn't use it, but in that case, just like I used to, you used to look up rhymes, right, on a website in English with all the rhymes and what rhymes with this. You can do it with AI and you can choose whether or not you want to use it. But our creativity is also still more developed. Secondly, there's a big problem here that you raised as well with ethics and copyright. Can I ask everybody, can I upload an entire book on ChatGPT? Should I? I should most certainly not. Definitely not without the permission of the author. That is an infringement of international copyright. So we should not do it because it's not ethically right. You are feeding it to the AI, and then once you've fed it, it's out there. Okay, so that's also why when it comes to creative translation, if I'll be translating a new horror next year called Borderland, and I'm not going to be able to put it on AI, and I can't put it on AI because the author has already said to me, do not upload it on any platform. I don't care if it's ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever will be produced. Do not upload a single sentence of my book to AI. So there's a big ethical problem there as well with creative translation.
Okay, maybe I stand with you right now, but your perspective it's for now because the technology it's always growth, right? So AI like the uh update GPT 4.0, it's from GPT. So bisa ditranslate. So I think for now AI it's just have the time for make the perfect of the AI.
Perfecting
Ya,
the
tetap
perfect.
berkembang.
Yeah, if you feed
Of course, but
yeah.
the problem is, should you feed it? You can't. Like, I don't give you my approval to upload my translation or my original onto AI. And in fact, if you do that, I can tell you there's a big cause in America. Somebody illegally uploaded translations onto something called Book 3, which is part of AI to teach AI how to translate literature. And a number of lecturers from Australia, from the UK, from the US, yes, of course, they've all been joining together in a big lawsuit that will be happening in the US because nobody gave permission, and it's copyright. It's the fruit of the author's work, and then it's the fruit of the translator's work. So there's a problem there that is ethical. So even if AI will become better, the ethical problem still stands, and it's a huge issue. I think that's maybe where we can and should teach our students more, because clearly they don't understand it. Yeah.
Okay. For last question, maybe you talk about the ethics. I think ethic is not the absolute idea, because many philosophers and theorists argument that ethics is relative and contextual. So maybe in one day, ethics of AI have changed.
Sure, but it's too late. It's already stolen from everybody. It's already this Book 3 case. It's huge.
Yes, yes.
None of my translations were used, but I have a colleague in Portuguese studies who's an award-winning translator, and her entire work has been uploaded onto Book 3. And she said to me, I thought I could choose who I was teaching. Nobody gave her permission. So it doesn't matter if it gets better. How do you improve ethics in AI when AI has already been out for 2 years now? We're coming up to about 2 years from ChatGPT, and it's already stolen left, right, and center. I would hope so. Definitely, I would hope so. But I think we just let it run freely for too long. There's no going back, is there? Yeah, would you agree?
Who wants
I
to-
believe ethics is a very difficult thing to just say things like that. But I think when you talk about ethics, the problem is because there is no sanction, right? But you have to take ethics as a principle. So the ethic is you don't steal, for example. Yeah. Well, feeding AI with translations of other people so that the AI learn about how to translate, it's not ethical. Although you can say probably later contextually we need it, for example, for learning, but still at the beginning it is unethical. And I think we have to make students aware about the danger of being unethical. Apalagi di Konoha. Harus belajar
Okay,
etik.
thank you so much for your
Thank you for
thought-provoking
your
questions.
answer and your
Give
time.
us for the first students asking question. Yeah, it's a very good question, because we now coming into the discussion of ethics in IT, which is actually we are going to talk about that later in session 2, yeah, keynote session 2. Okay. So I agree with you. ChatGPT is creative, and if we feed the information into ChatGPT, it's going to be more creative. But again, it's about ethics. Whether we have rights to feed the information into ChatGPT. Okay. So a lady there, yes, with black scarf. Yeah. Yes. Can the committee give the mic to her? Thank you. Yes, after this, we are going to go to the participants in the Zoom. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Good morning to the honorable lecturers. Good morning to the honorable search person, and good morning, my beloved friends. I want to ask question to Miss Anna, but before that, let me introduce myself first. My name is Mayona Mulia Rahim. I'm from English for Business Communication and Professional Study Program. And ask question about why can machines or AI handle text type that are expressive or aim to have an emotional effect on the reader? And how can humans handle it? Thank you.
Yeah, why can't AI?
Why can't machine or AI handle text type that are expressive or aim to have an emotional effect on the reader? And how can humans handle it? Thank you.
So why can't
Sorry,
AI be expressive, you said?
Why can machine or AI handle text type that are expressive or aim to have an emotional effect on the reader? And how can a human handle it?
how can human add the
Uh,
expressive?
Yes.
How
can human? Yeah.
Yeah, how can ChatGPT? Yeah, if I can reformulate, so please check my comprehension. So you are asking Anna, how can ChatGPT becoming more expressive?
Why can
Why cannot?
AI,
Why cannot ChatGPT be
why cannot
expressive?
ChatGPT? Yeah.
Okay, and how can it? How
How
make
can
it more
humans do
expressive?
it? Yeah.
All right, so ChatGPT and other types of AI are actually already quite versed in expressive language. Let's just take it back. Sorry, I'm a teacher. I can't help myself. I'm gonna have to teach. I'll keep it short. So 3 text types: informative texts where you just get information. So news, okay? Second text type, expressive. It's a text that has been developed on 2 levels: the level of information, but also the level of aesthetics. It's aesthetically pleasing. The author has put an effort into making that text beautiful or using a certain type of literary type. You know, you can use stream of consciousness, for example. And the third type is operative texts. And these are texts that make you want to do something. So if I gave you a spiel about come to UWA in Perth and come study with us, an ad is an operative text. So it's not just developed on the information level, it's developed on the aesthetic level, and it's also developed on a psychological underlying level, which will make you want to buy something or come to Perth. Now, AI does the best in informative texts. It does okay in expressive texts, and it does quite poorly in operative texts. Why? Because in this second 2 level, the feeling is what matters. And you and I have a heart, we have a brain, but we also have a heart, and the machine just doesn't have a heart. So it still requires you, human, student of English for X many years, to put in that contextual knowledge, but also that sentimental knowledge that will help make that text better. AI is quite good with expressive. It's not that bad. It looks better than it does. And I don't think that it'll improve to a level where it's the best, because it just lacks the human emotions. And at the end of the day, people buy books because they want to feel feelings. It's very poor at staining the language because it westernizes things heavily. And it doesn't give an impression of the original language and culture as much as, so if I pick up a book written in Bahasa, Indonesia, I want to read about your experiences. As a human, I want to connect with this culture and I want to read about it. If there's a word in there that's from Bahasa Indonesia, I'll look it up, right? If there's something that's typical of your culture, I'll jump on Google and figure out what it is. That is what's quintessentially reading and learning through that mutual connection. And that's what the machines can't do, because they turn everything into this very standardized modern English that's often not acceptable, not even in, for example, in Australia, because it's often very Americanized. So it sort of simplifies everything, keeps it plain. And it's what we have, having studied the languages for a number of years, that even if we make our own mistakes as humans, we do have that spark. That's what readers want.
I've just watched from Reels, I think, the emergence of bookstores. So now people go back again to buy books because they don't really enjoy reading from screens. Yeah. So there is this new phenomena, I think, in the global north. Yeah. About reading books. So probably it's the needs of our affective side that we do not really believe in, we do not really trust AI, something like that.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Safrina and Anna. Yeah, I think, again, I just try to catch up some keywords, and the keywords that I got from this explanation is experience. The experience, ChatGPT cannot have that. It's only human who can experience that, and only human who can feel that experience. Yeah, so that's maybe one of the keywords. And then the questions from Zoom. We are going to go and switch into the questions from the audience in the Zoom online. And it's from Azam. Yeah, Azam. In translation, certain cultural elements within the source text must be accurately preserved. Yeah, it's like what Anna said, and appropriately adapted to the target language. My question is firstly for Professor Anna, how does the parameter of localization ideology align with the strategy of foreignization?
Thank you, Hazam. This is a really good question. It doesn't. They're pretty opposite parameters. One of the first things I would say to anybody wanting to become a translator, always remember what you're translating. So in the field of localization, the accents on the product, you are selling a product. The people hiring you don't really care about languages and cultures, not as much as we do. And you're translating in a very target-oriented way. So thinking about the target, the end product. Whereas foreignization is something you do in literature, something you might want to do in literature, that certainly I do in literature, and that's the exact opposite. So I'll translate in a way. If I'm translating from Italian, I just recently completed a translation. Sorry, my student completed a translation. I simply supervised him, and his English is heavily stained with Italian elements because his whole thesis, dissertation that he wrote was about foreignizing that book and make it so that even for the English reader, it was obvious that that book was about experience in Italy and particularly in northern Italy. And then there's a question for you, Ibu Safrina.
Yeah, and the next question is for Ibu Safrina. Could you suggest on effective AI prompt usage for translating text to maintain localization and liven up academic climate?
Prompts are interesting actually because I find out that you can make AI your friend. Yeah. So probably when you talk to AI as a friend, you can just discuss about different types of things. Yeah. And then later on I can check. But the prompts that probably is more effective is by asking AI to act as if, so giving the AI like situation probably, but I'm not sure. I just use my English and I never really think about prompts. Yeah? So because my children are away, so from home now, so there is just my husband and I. Sometimes I just talk with AI about films, about different types of things. Yeah, so just as a friend, but I never really think about prompts. Yeah? But I think if you have mastery in your own language, you can think about specific things that you want him atau her ya, AI to perform or to respond to your questions. So I think the mastery of the language is important. Yeah. And then probably create some specific prompts. Yeah. What is it that you want to learn? But I think it is also important to make sure that you have your own references. And then making a situation like, could you think as if you are a 12-year-old and please translate atau reword Shakespeare in a 12-year-old language, something like that. So maybe something more specific. I'm not sure. Yeah? Thank you. Sorry for the answer.
Thank you so much, Ibu. Azam, I hope that Anna and Bu Safrina answered your questions. And is there other questions from the Zoom besides Azam? If not, I want to ask questions actually. Oh, there is, okay. Okay. So before my questions, we are going to deal with one more questions. So this is for Anna again. What additional roles and responsibilities should a human translator undertake to complement and enhance the output of an AI-powered translation tool to ensure the depth of understanding, context accuracy, and refined language choices in translation?
Traditional skills at translating it yourself. If you don't do that first, you're not going to be able to judge an AI translation as in depth. Years of language learning, the other language for you, right? English for most of the people in this room, myself, English is not my first language, it's Italian. So years and years of learning that language, years and years of practicing traditional skills. I want to practice now these years in the post-AI era, a balanced approach where I both give my students the tools that exist, because let's be frank, they're gonna know about these tools. They already do. They use them, as we've seen. They're quite well versed in them. But let's also not forget about the traditional skills of translating something the old school way. If you have these two skills and great performance and proficiency in both of your languages, that's how you can then dissect and analyze those texts. I try to do it in a non-language specific way in that unit that I talked about. But I think we're going to go towards a period in which in a unit, say my specialized translation, Indonesian English unit, I don't teach it. We have a specialist translator. I think there should be one module on recognizing errors on DeepL, ChatGPT, etc. So one module. The other two modules could still be about traditional translation.
Okay, thank you so much. How about in the classroom, Ibu? Maybe Ibu Safrina. What do you think? What kind of skills that teachers now should improve related to that?
Teacher skills, I think teachers should always learn the new skills and they should be aware of what the students are in now. What are they? Perhaps the new languages that they have and the new ways of teaching. I think it's very much related to how a teacher should improve their teaching skills. And I think mastery of the language, yeah, and knowledge, always update your knowledge. I like new jeans, for example.
Okay, Ibu, going back again to the trust issue that you mentioned, trust issue, yes. Could you help us or give some guidance to us how we explicate or make it explicit our expectation to the students, especially about, I want to trust you. So show me this so I can trust you. Is there things that we have to put in assessment description or something that we make it explicit so the students know our expectation, especially related to trust?
Yeah. I think first of all, when we talk about teaching, it is important to have it printed so the students have the chance to read it. But I don't know whether they will read it or not. So you will have to encourage it in class. You will have to give examples. I think examples are very important in that you are a trustworthy person. So you give feedbacks to the students and you talk with the students. And I'm very lucky with this class just now because there are only 6 of them. So we have plenty of time to talk. But I understand when you have lots of students, it's very difficult to that is why we turn to automated grading. Yeah? But I think it is what is important beside encouraging to the students to earn our trust. We also have to give examples, and I really don't know how. But I'm just trying. Yeah, I'm just trying.
How about you, Anna? Maybe you have experience in your class, how you make it explicit to your student, your expectations related to the
Absolutely.
use of AI or
I am quite obsessive compulsive when it comes to instructions in my units. I repeat a lot, especially, and I start early. So I teach a lot of Spanish 101, for example, which is the beginner's unit of Spanish. I have 17-year-olds that come into uni. They need a lot of transition pedagogy because it's their first semester at uni. And I have a course guide in which I say that they're not allowed to use AI in the tests in the unit. And then I also have an assessment information sheet. So something similar to what was in my presentation, where I also state that we have guidelines from the university saying that unless explicitly stated by the lecturer, they're not allowed to use it. So I do this where I go one side and then the opposite. So if I'm testing them in that report, for example, I'm testing them on the use of AI and their analytical skills, then obviously in that one, they know that they can use it. And it's one thing. And then the complete opposite is asking them to do a pen and paper composition in language with no books, no AI, no dictionaries, nothing. And that will give you a perception of the performance of the student because you have everything or nothing. So I can see both how well you do with the AI, enhanced, doped. It's like using doping. Cheating, no longer cheating because I allowed you to do it, but I can also see how you did, if I'm teaching you Spanish for a semester, how you did your own production in Spanish with nothing in front of you. So just letting them know early on, you're allowed to do this in this assessment, you're allowed to use absolutely nothing in this other assessment. And I think that trust, that's when I earn their trust because they can see that, oh, okay, so she's allowed us to do this with the AI. Cool, that's so awesome, Anna, that you're doing that. And I'm like, okay, but you still also have an assessment the old school way, so that I think their proficiency kind of lies in the middle. Because at the end of the day, if you become an interpreter, yes, you may be helped by AI, 100%. You have your AI to write your script, how you summarize when you're interpreting. But then you need to know the language. You can't do it without, which is also why sometimes people that know nothing about languages will tell you, oh my goodness, this ChatGPT is amazing. How do you even know it's amazing? You don't have the tools to tell me if it's amazing or not. You simply see a fluent text in English and you just trust that it's produced the perfect text. You don't know, you can't know.
Okay, talking about assessment, and now we're moving from the classroom into professional. You're as the advisor of NATI. I don't know, in Indonesia, maybe if you want to be a translator, certified translator, you have to follow through assessment. Yes, Ibu. You have to doing assessment to be, what is it? Oh, yeah, to be certified. Does this phenomena affect the way Australia assess the certified translator there? I mean, is there component the skills component that change or that is added there?
I'm on a couple of committees. I'm on the NATI RAC agenda, which is the Western Australia branch of NATI. I'm probably forgetting some. I'm on the AUSIT Education Committee. So all of the group of 8 universities are on this Association of Translators and Interpreters. And I'm on a couple of other external committees for my languages of specialization for Spanish and with the Italian, which is AITI, so similar to the Bahasa one. And there's a lot of talk at the moment amongst practitioners about what is right and wrong to allow during a test. So up until recently, the exams for NATI certifications, I still did it pen and paper. I walked into the office with a trolley full of dictionaries. So I wasn't allowed to use anything. And this is around 2014. So not that long ago. Now you can use a computer, but you have to download an application that will block websites. And you're allowed to use some dictionaries and some online tools, but not all of them. So machine translation wasn't included. And there was a lot of vetting on behalf of experts of each individual language as to, okay, in Spanish, we have Spanish dict, and it's machine translation. So we can't allow it anymore because it does the work for you, as opposed to word reference. I don't know, is word reference for Bahasa Indonesia as well? Word reference. No. So it's a collection of dictionaries. So that can be used because you can go and, it's the online equivalent of opening a big dictionary and looking. So some resources are allowed, some are not. But there's continuous talk in our community to see what is allowed and what isn't allowed.
Okay, Ibu, how about in Indonesia?
I think even in 2024, certification test for translators, we still cannot use computers. So it is only dictionaries.
It's better that way.
Yeah, better that way.
You need the skills, the raw skills, and then
True.
you can use all the tools you want in your career, but you've got to show me you've got the skills.
Do you think there would be extra module maybe in the assessment, like ethics in AI? Maybe
There's already, sorry, I should have said there's an ethics component, and it's always been there.
Okay.
It wasn't ethics in AI specifically. It was more ethics about how I cannot translate my own daughter's birth certificate, for example. I have to ask someone else to do it. So yeah, I think it's just going to be as easy as to just add a little extra there.
Okay. Yes. Oh, did I skip one question? Okay. Oh, yeah, from Iras Pradipyas. Yeah. So I will read one more questions maybe from the audience online from Iras. In what ways can AI translation tools and human translator collaborate to enhance the quality and accuracy of translated contents? Since we have to deal with ethics. Okay, we're talking about ethics before that we cannot maybe the scope, to what extent that we can do or we can make benefit the AI under ethic, good ethic.
Which I think is something that came up before, isn't it? I feel we've sort of answered this, but I'm happy to go into it again. So do you really want to, I'm going to be black. I'm a straight shooter. I'll shoot straight, right? Do you really want AI to have the one thing that you as a human have? Then let's go. Let's not study languages. Let's not study translation. Let's go home, because what's the point? That's the one thing you can contribute in a world in which they have taught machines how to do our job, the very job that it's taken us years, decades of studying and going to the country and perfecting the language and finding out about all of those cultural experiences that are quintessentially in my case, Australian, and becoming Australian, getting an Australian passport, marrying an Australian, and having all of this expertise that I've gathered across a lifetime. I think I was maybe 12 when I started learning English. Do you really want to improve AI so it does get the one thing that you as a human have? I don't.
Okay.
I agree very much. I think it is a tool. So do not make it control you. Yeah, I think you just have to use it as a tool and make sure that the human that you are come up in your text. So,
Thank you. How about the lecturers that coming today here? Do you have any questions maybe for Anna? And also from Ibu, or Ibu want to ask back? Yeah, ask back. Bu Ina, maybe
I
do you
have a
want to
question
ask
for you.
question, or Ibu Fariska, Ibu Septina, Pak Marudur? Okay, this is our guest from BRIN, Pak Marudur, yeah. So Pak Marudur is a guest from Research and Innovation National Agency.
Thank you, Mbak Vivi. My name is Marudur Pandamanik from National Research and Innovation Agency. Mbak Vivi is my colleague in BRID. Firstly, I would like to congratulate PNJ and teams for organizing this very splendid seminar. I have two questions for speakers. Maybe some of us already know that in UK, in United Kingdom, they already experimenting teacherless classroom. Yeah, a classroom without teacher, fully AI tools. So, and you already said in your previous slide that human proofreading is essential in translating. Yeah, but however, as the AI tools become more and more sophisticated, more and more developed, what is your view on AI technology in linguistic and translation? Do you think that one day it could replace human translator in someday or
Thank you.
head? And the second question, and how the government, education institution, and industries play their roles to anticipate, maybe to anticipate this technology. I think that's my question. Thank you.
Terima kasih.
How government in education institution play their roles and in also industries.
Thank you, Pak Marudur. Okay.
Terima kasih. So this teacherless class thing sounds scary. There are a number of applications that ask you to teach the machine how to teach your language of expertise. Some of my students are actually contributing, and I do have this conversation with them, and I try not to be judgmental of the choices that they make. Although I do say to them, look, by teaching the machine how to do your job, you are stabbing yourself on your foot. I mean, you're actively decreasing your own chances of having a job. We already know how, I mean, here everybody learns English, right? Because English is the lingua franca. I come from a country where it's very much the same. So a lot of my work over the years was teaching English classes to Spaniards or Italians. And there's always going to be a bit of a market because there's always going to be people wanting to study with a human person. So I want to be optimistic on that level. I still feel people want to learn with a human. They might use an app much like they use Duolingo, which is a game, right? Doesn't teach them anything. It's just a game. Has Duolingo actively taken away chances from language teachers? Not yet. Fingers crossed it won't happen. And fingers crossed none of these applications that pop up left, right, and center also don't. I do think that in English-speaking countries, we have a difficult task because people already don't study languages. There's something called monolingual mentality. So the average person in Perth doesn't want to learn languages. They're like, I speak English. What's the point? The average Perth person that goes to Bali doesn't make the effort of learning anything. No Balinese, no Bahasa Indonesia. And that is, I think that's why in English speaking countries like UK, like you mentioned, it's difficult. It's more difficult to learn a language because already we did so much work in terms of convincing people that it was worth learning Bahasa or Italian or Spanish, and now this has happened. It feels like I want to be optimistic, but I'm going to have to wait and see. I don't hold all of the answers. I can only speak about the present, and at the moment, we're all still here, and we're all still wanting to learn languages. Fingers crossed it keeps happening that way.
Each time I hear something like that, teacherless classrooms and the overpowering ideas about machine takes control of everything, even in things like translation. It feels like reading from a dystopian book. Yes, so it makes me scared. But I still have the positive attitude in probably having a teacherless classroom have some advantage, but I don't think it is something I would like to, I would like for my grandchildren to have, something like that. But if it's something that we have to go through, then probably it is something that we have to go through. So I hope it, we still have some optimistic point of view about what is going on now. And like AI, the idea about AI, which becomes my concern, is things like ethics and trust and making sure people are aware that you have to be skeptical, you have to be critical when you have this new knowledge. I don't know, but I'm just...
Okay, thank you, Ibu Safrina and also Anna. So this is the last question from the room, and we are going to invite the last questions from Zoom. And please raise your hand in the Zoom. Yeah, in the Zoom, right? Sorry? Yes, Oh, okay. So, okay, so no one want to ask in the Zoom, so that's all then. Okay, so before we close the session, I'm going to invite Anna and Bu Safrina to give a closing comments, a closing thoughts for the audience before we close that. So maybe start from Anna first. A closing statement for, yes. This anything you can to conclude.
I can say what I want. Oh, that's
You can say
amazing.
what you want.
No, I just wanted to thank everybody that's both here in presence and the people on Zoom for listening to us ramble on about translation and AI, and for the very interesting questions. And nothing else apart from that, like a big terima kasih to everyone.
Thank you.
I think it's the same for me. It's been wonderful here, and I learned a lot from you, from Anna. And thank you so much for all the participants here and in the Zoom. And I hope that you learn from us as we have learned from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the closing statement from Ibu Safrina and Anna has concluded our session, and we are going to meet again on the second keynote session. And so now I'm going to return this to the MC. Thank you, Anna. It's a very wonderful.
Thank you to all our keynote speakers for your credible insights and well-thought-provoking ideas. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude by presenting a token of appreciation. We kindly invite Mrs. Ina Sukaisi. Also, we invite Mrs. Afifah Muharika, our esteemed keynote speaker, Professor Anagad, and Dr. Safrina Nurman to join us again on the stage to receive a special memento in recognition for their valuable insights. Please welcome.
And for the documentation team, please be ready to take the documentation for this incredible moment. One, two, three. Okay, once again. Okay. One, two, three. Okay, one, please. Okay.
All right, thank you. And please give a warm applause for our keynote speaker, Professor Anagad. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we will take a break for lunch and feel free to use this time to network and discuss the presentation. And we will start again at 12:50 p.m. We'd like to inform you that the live streaming on YouTube is over, but the event will still continue at the auditorium of Politeknik Negeri Jakarta. Thank you.